born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.
So listen,
Yes, there we go. For a long, we all have all the time in the world today. I
We
think.
do. This
Look
is
at
going to be a
that.
long one.
Yeah. So on the radio this morning, I was listening to a discussion, and like on the radio, they were talking about having people calling in, and they were talking about foods that you like at like a different temperature than like what is standard. So like for example, one person called in and said that they like their ice cream like microwave to a point of being like soup, like warm ice cream. Someone had called in and said that like they'll order Chinese food the night before and then put it all in the fridge. That they won't eat it that night. They'll put it in the fridge because they want their Chinese food cold. They don't want it warm. Someone said that like, I think his exact like word for word was like, I can't eat warm food because of my tongue. Like my tongue can't handle warm food.
food.
So everything has
So he's like,
to
I have to have
be
everything cold. So
See, I wonder.
So
I said this over 4th of July. There's a dip that my brother-in-law makes that, to me, the only reason it's so addictive, but the only reason it's so addictive, I feel like, is because for me it was like the temperature. It's a little like colder than, because it comes out of the fridge obviously, and it's a cold dip.
because it's like sour cream's in there, shredded cheese.
It's just
maybe
like,
I should. Can I give his recipe away? I don't know.
I don't
Is this
even know
like
what
secret?
it is.
No. It's just like a basic dip.
What
I
do
know
we
it's
call it?
pretty popular. It's like, I don't want to say cowboy caviar, but
What
it's
did
like
I
a
call
creamy. I have no idea.
Something because it disappeared. Like it's like there's a plug at the bottom of the bowl, and you just, because throughout an hour, this giant bowl, like
It's huge. We always make a huge
bowl,
one.
is just
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
funny because then I'll come back in and all of it's almost gone.
half of the bowl is gone, and I've only been
So
gone
anyways,
for
the
15
base of
minutes,
it is
you know?
sour cream, so it has to be in the fridge until you get it out to eat it.
So like
then,
the reason I feel like it's so addictive to me is because it's a cold temperature,
Right.
and that's different than everything else that we're eating
Right.
at that time.
right.
Yeah.
Chinese food cold, I'm not a fan.
I'm
pizza's
not
fine,
either.
but
I'm a cold pizza fan.
yeah.
I like cold pizza for breakfast.
Especially
Yeah,
if you like.
actually,
yeah.
You getting
My hair is
shocked or
getting
what?
stuck on this thing back here.
Oh, it's a little bolt there.
But if you get the orange chicken, the breaded chicken, and that's cold the next day, it just doesn't taste as good.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. I'm not a huge...
I'd be interested to see how many people like cold Chinese food.
Yeah.
How about chili? Could you eat chili cold since we had our chili talk last
No, chili's way better warmed up. I mean, I've tried it cold. It's not the same.
Which,
not the
okay,
same,
so your
but-
dad commented
know,
on that.
yeah.
I knew we had to discuss it, but your dad commented and said the only reason you won the internet, what town was it?
Latimer.
Latimer. The
Latimer.
International Latimer cook-off was because his ingredient that you don't actually use.
No,
anymore.
I don't. No.
So it was actually
I can-
his chili that won.
I mean, his chili technically got second place by the judges, but won the People's Choice Award. But I can tell everyone that his secret ingredient is it's banana peppers, and I don't love.
Called out.
Yeah, like we talked about this
Yeah.
at the volleyball
Yeah.
game, which is a good segue here for our next.
There we go.
discussion.
Love it. Love it.
We talked about that. Like I don't love peppers at all, let alone banana peppers, but he does. So
Yeah.
it just adds a little bit of extra.
So does he put chunks of banana peppers in there, or like
Yeah, they're like the
grounds them up?
No, they're like the legit sliced up.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Because
pepper.
I
You
love
would
those.
get it
That
at Subway.
sounds good.
Yeah, like what you get at Subway.
Yeah.
I
So they're-
tried
they're
it one
like
time at Subway.
But I can see some people probably grind them up so they're not as thick in
Yeah.
there. But
No, I don't. I think
Okay.
it takes away from the good flavor of the rest of the chili.
Yeah.
Personally,
And
myself.
peppers
I'm on your side.
Yeah.
because
That's what
peppers
I
is
said.
like a distinct flavor, so
Yeah.
I
But
love
thanks for
them,
listening,
but
my dad.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
No, so that's a kind of a cold opening. So welcome if this is your first time joining us, the gym closet. Welcome into the gym closet, literally in a gym closet. So we're not super creative.
a
with
black
the-
gym closet now.
Yes. It was
I know it's
painted.
nice in here.
It does. It went a long way better than the bright
Bright green.
That was
our color back in the day. Sorry.
it was kind of it made like the camera. It made like a really off-putting.
just a terrible color.
Yeah.
Bright.
That doesn't
yeah.
make anybody's tone.
It's
look good.
really no, that's true. But it's a really sweet color if it was like one little square of it.
Yeah.
on a black wall.
Right.
That looks really cool.
Right.
The entire wall that color, not cool.
No.
But
It's a
anyway,
lot, yeah.
so welcome to the Gym Closet. The Gym Closet is a Krave Gym podcast where we talk about everything that is living like an athlete, how to live like an athlete. What that means is living like an athlete is being successful, being great, living your greatest life. And so we touch on all things that, both in the gym and outside the gym. And so welcome here as always with Amber and Zach. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today,
I
but
think we got to talk about how great we are at volleyball.
yes, and that was that was a
Absolutely.
good transition. So
Yeah.
we had talked about it at volleyball with the chili cook-off and stuff. But yeah, we had our Waukee at Waukee volleyball season started at the
So I remember when we first
Sand
moved
volleyball.
here, we played at Sands, or
Yeah.
I did. Did you ever play?
athlete. Yeah.
Okay, so we were on a couple teams. We did a couple Krave teams, and then life happened with kids, so we haven't played again. But then at Waukee, the opportunity presented itself, and I was 50-50. I was like, this sounds really fun, but we have kids. And then Dana goes, hey, just make that your date night, and you're going to have so much fun. So then we did, and we had a lot of fun.
It was a blast.
Too
It was
much
too much fun.
Yeah.
So we
Much fun.
started off bad.
Game
we
one
never
was
played
rough.
together. So it's us three, Tony, Chelsea, and then Liz, who was gone. Savannah filled in, who did awesome.
Yeah.
So a bunch of Krave athletes. And you don't know how experienced people are. You know, we try to stack teams just so we can win, but you don't want to be that a-hole that's like, are you good?
Right.
Because you can't be on our team.
And I can't ask if people are good because
But you're an
I'm not
athlete, so
good,
you just
so-
gotta thank
You got
right.
well.
I
we'll
got-
talk.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
yeah, we
so-
can. Well, let's go. We should just go game by game here.
Yeah,
Game
so
one,
Game one.
rough. Game one, although.
Well,
okay, so
so
game
what
one started
happened
out
was
rough.
We lost by what, 4?
We got back.
No, only
it was,
yeah, we
one.
came back. Oh, yeah,
Two.
we
it was
lost by
20 to
2.
19.
Yes.
If we would have scored that point, we would have.
And see, what
went on,
happened
so-
was we were down by 6 the entire game
Yeah.
because one dude
Had a laser.
on their team started off serving really, really well, and we couldn't get our heads out of our ass to save our
Right.
life. So we couldn't return it, and so they went up it was 8-2.
Right.
And then it stayed there all the way up, and then we ended up having a run at the end, and it was 19. And then we had the ball, we had the serve, and we
Yeah.
Yeah.
gave
I
up
think.
the
Well, I think
side
it was
up.
Amber serving,
That
right?
was-
And
yeah.
then we.
So Amber
we-
lost
Pressure.
the game for us.
It was pretty much Amber lost it.
So,
Yeah.
so
Honestly.
she lost the game
What
for
the
us.
No. Okay. So if we're gonna talk about this. Okay. So it's windy, right? It's windy out, but this guy's laser is coming fast.
That was- yeah.
I played college
Oh, yeah.
volleyball, and this guy was a freaking good
He was
server.
good.
And plus, it didn't help. He held his elbow, and you're like, you are just gonna serve it right at me. So Zach's like, just get back here and take it from me.
I know.
So it comes to me one time, and I shank it. And Sally's like, Amber, just hit it right up, so serious.
I was joking because I knew that you knew that, but I was like,
It sounded
just
like-
play better.
Because you stay
just
so
just
straight.
do a better job.
But you
Yeah.
just pass it right up in the
Just,
middle.
pass
and
it,
I'm
straight up.
What do you think
is
I'm
all
trying
you
to
do.
do? Shank it?
No, that's
Okay, so then Zach, what
Have
did you?
have
You
ever
did. You
seen
had
Brink?
one
Do you remember
really
Brink?
bad
Hold on.
play.
Do you remember Brink, the skating movie from the 90s?
I don't watch movies. We know this.
No, have you ever watched
I haven't
Brink?
seen it,
Okay,
no.
Brink holds up for anybody that's looking. Check out Brink. But Brink, he's in a skating competition, and it's halftime, and he's not doing as well or whatever. And his little sister is 6, comes up and she goes, "Just skate better." And he's like, "Oh, skate better." Okay,
Is that where that
yeah.
comes from? Because some
Yeah.
people are like, just do better. Just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
funny.
that-
Although I will say, just like you were saying, that is literally exactly what you did to me, and that's
Yeah.
what worked.
Right,
Word.
yeah.
You're like,
Okay.
Zach, just
Just
stop sucking.
play better.
And I was like, you're
Duh,
right.
That's
Play
right.
better
I should
than
just
what you're
stop
doing.
sucking.
It's
So then I,
free- yeah.
Okay, so what happened? You had one bad play where we were like, oh my.
No, so
what
two
happened?
plays that kind of 2 plays. That
8
kind of-
plays that were really bad.
Well, 2 of them that really really identified Zach in the first game was one, he jumped too early, and then on the way down kind of hit it,
Yep.
and
There was one that I
It went
jumped.
right over your
There was
face.
one I jumped too early, and I landed as the ball
Yeah.
landed behind me. Then I didn't
Yeah.
even touch it. And, I
and,
was, wow,
and that was the second one that I was thinking of. So there was one that you jumped too early, started coming down and kind of touched it, and it went into the net. The other one went up too early,
I was like 4 feet away from even
landed,
Exactly.
and then it came
If
down.
we want to talk about a third one though, like before that, it was when I was in the back row, and that's why Amber had to come protect me because the guy that was a really good server had like somehow figured out that I was apparently not that good.
That's the one we
at
wanted
the
to
back
pick
row. Like I'm not a good bumper. You know, I have a very select skill set, and I'm only good at a few things. Like I'm good at like spiking, but like the bumping part, not so
Not
much.
good.
So like he figured out that I was no good, so he just served like 3 in a row right at me, and I just like
Okay,
shanked
so
him.
disclaimer: do you think this guy really had aim, or do you think he was?
I don't know
or
if
guy-
he was really aiming.
I don't know, but I mean there was like 2 or 3 in a row that came right at me. So luckily I was in the middle back, and Amber
Yeah,
was
so
in
that's
the
easier to hit.
front.
So he's
back.
probably just going right
He's
for the
just
middle.
aiming.
So he's,
Right.
Get
I
him.
just want to make you feel better. He wasn't
Right,
coming for you
yeah,
because you're a
right.
bad passer. You're fine.
So Amber was standing directly in front of me, and I was like, Amber, just please like stand like literally. I'll stand in the back
Right.
line, and you just stand right in
I'll
front of
be
me.
out of bounds.
and
just
you
take
just
my spot.
take everything in the middle here, and so that's what worked actually for us.
Yep, it was good.
But anyway, so the
Second
first
game.
then we had. a
Did
couple
you learn to
beers in
snap
between.
your wrist?
That was the third game.
The third
You
game.
guys told
Okay,
me
we got
that.
there. Okay,
Yeah.
so second game just had
Second
some
game, I
beers.
think he figured out. Second game, I think you figured out the jump timing.
No, we were playing volleyball. And I figured
Yes,
out.
yeah.
Game
Oh,
two,
we're
I
playing
figured out
volleyball.
we're playing volleyball.
Okay, that's
And
why.
then-
Okay,
And then good thing they had 18 people on the team because we couldn't keep score.
Yeah.
So we'd every time the ball came to us, we're like, "What's the score?" These people are, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But then they had
It's-
5 people in
Right.
the back
So that was
line that were
helpful.
keeping score, so that was nice.
So I think
So-
game 2 we won. Well,
very handedly.
I would say comfortably. And then game 3 we just destroyed them.
Yeah,
They're probably listening right now
I
to
know.
the gym closet. They're probably avid fans.
they were good teammates, good sports.
they
all
were
good
they were
sports.
great to
Like,
play
we're all-
against.
yep,
Like
we
game
all-
1, it was like a good level of like they were competitive and they took it serious. They weren't just there to mess around,
Yeah.
but it was also like
Yeah, they tried.
there was never any like arguments. There was never any like
Yeah.
over competitive.
Yeah.
To a
And
point that didn't make it fun
I was
or
very
anything,
proud
but-
of us because we set it up. Because I hate going to play just because I'm competitive and I played volleyball.
Yeah.
I like when we set it up, bump set spike.
We
Or some
played.
teams, like you'll just be looking,
Go
you
over.
just
They
go
would just
back
like go
and
back
forth.
and forth.
And
like,
so their team, they just try to pass it over, I think. But we set it up a few
we
times,
played
especially
like
that
a
third
legit.
game.
We
Yeah.
played like a legit game of volleyball.
Yeah,
Actually,
it was
I
awesome.
bet
So
to
then
point
on the
of, like,
third set, because that can jump, and so Tyler's like, "Yeah, Amber told me one time you got to snap your wrist," and that was like the best advice. And so they're having a
So
little.
literally, like literally the first point of the game, the ball just came up right to me, and I was like, I'll just give it a shot here.
Yeah.
And then it worked.
It
and I
did,
was
and
like,
you did so good
okay.
after that. We did good. Even Tony had some good plays.
yeah, even Tony.
Even
somehow.
Tony, wow, that was kind of ricochet shot.
Yeah.
Even Tony. Wow. Okay, sorry, Tony.
Was like so serious and shit. He's okay. There's rules. There's like 2 rules, and he's like so serious. I love how passionate he was.
I know. Yeah.
A girl has to hit it before it goes to the net. Like, we all know that shit, Tony. And then what was the other one? Oh, he was so worried about our rotation that we couldn't start in a different rotation
Oh,
because they
yeah.
were gonna like call us out. And
Yeah.
it was gonna be super illegal.
Also, I love, in my mind, and I'm sure this is not what you were intending to do, but like, I felt like you were hustling them a little bit because like Amber like got the ball and was like, oh, like, and she's like, what? Can someone explain the rules of volleyball to me? Like, when I serve it, can I like, can it hit the net and go over, or like, does it have to not touch the net? And they're like, oh, this is how you play. And she's like, okay. And she's like, and then she serves like a 80-mile-an-hour like, rocket right over the net, like 8 in a row.
So it's called like a let serve is when it hits the net and it goes over. So I think in 4s you can't do that. But like
Okay.
in 6s. So it was really a legit question.
Okay, right.
So I wasn't trying to hustle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amber's like, what is
What is
this?
this? What
How
game
do
are we
you-
playing again?
What's going on?
Where's my bat?
Yeah.
How do I hit this ball without a bat?
No, it was fun. And then the aftermath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then we went
it
to
was-
Monterey, and
yeah.
it was.
We had those margaritas are strong.
I don't know what they put in them, but
Oh,
I
no.
had
They're
too
probably
More
laughing.
than-
many.
More than one shot of tequila.
You know those
in
guys
mine.
are those guys are back behind that counter just laughing at us,
Oh, they
thinking
were.
Oh, yeah.
these guys tomorrow.
Are gonna struggle,
Yeah,
which
struggle.
we did.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a rough day.
So-
And then the kids would. Did you see that Ivy knows how to play Baby Shark on repeat?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Mhm.
That's fun.
So I checked the basement camera, and Baby Shark's going, and then it stopped, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna be mad. But it just started going again.
That's
All
awesome.
day. So that on top of how I was feeling after margaritas was just a solid day.
Yeah.
Right.
Solid.
That makes for
They
a
were-
solid day.
Yeah, they were good. They were strong. They
Yeah.
were They were
It was fun though. Like good team bonding.
It was good
I've
team
laughed. My
bonding.
cheeks hurt from
That
laughing
was
in my
so much
stomach.
fun,
I have
yeah.
laughed a lot. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think like a 24 ounce, like on its own, a 24 ounce doesn't, in my mind, seem like a ton.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, well, then we got another like a 16 ounce after that, and then I'm like, that's 40 ounces.
Right.
And I'm like, a 40 ounce margarita at like a Mexican restaurant is like the jumbo
yeah.
sized one.
Right.
Because those cups didn't seem very big.
No, they didn't, and they're like in like the plastic cups. Yeah. So I'm like, it's not that big.
Well,
But-
now we know. We just learned our lesson.
Now
so
we
next
know.
week's just
And they
gonna be
do
a little
have
different.
to go too, so we're giving
Yeah.
like a huge ad to Monterey
Yes.
Express.
We asked them
but
to
it's so
sponsor
good,
us.
right?
I know.
We're still gonna work on that.
We
We
should.
should.
Because
As
if they
we're-
know we're gonna come in there every week, they might.
Well, I don't know that it
And
helped
if they
that
know
we
if
like.
we're going to talk about them on the podcast,
Right.
they can pay for an ad there too.
I don't know that it helped that we were like 40 ounces in, and we're like, you guys should sponsor our volleyball team, like screaming at the guy behind.
That's probably true. That's probably true. Not the most pragmatic way to go about it, but
Hey.
yeah. So that was Krave Volleyball.
We kept them entertained. Otherwise, there would have been nobody.
There was nobody there but us, so they had to have something to
We'll just
pass the
we kept them
time. Yeah,
entertained. They weren't annoyed by any means.
for sure.
I'm sure.
Oh.
All right. So what do we want to go into next? We have let's go into other events for Krave. So we have our baseball game, the iCubs game, August 7th. With that, you get a Krave baseball shirt, and then also a ticket to the game, and that's all at $25. So if you sign up on the front desk or give one of the coaches a call and let them know that you want to, leave your t-shirt size, and we'll get those printed up for everybody that is going.
And they don't have to be a Krave athlete to do that. So friends and family are welcome. If you are a Krave athlete, you want to bring some friends with you, you're more than welcome to. And then kids are always welcome to if you want to bring kids. We will have kids t-shirts available. So if you do bring a child, just write like youth small or whatever size that they need. So
Yeah, so that'll be going on. And then we have the next weekend after that, the 15th, it's a Sunday, we have the trench run. So the trench run is awesome. I actually did it last year too. Amber,
no, that was was that last year?
Oh no, 2 years.
2 years
I
ago,
think it's
because
COVID,
Last
yeah.
year didn't count.
last year didn't even happen.
Last year's like a
really, yeah.
blur, right?
Yeah, last
like
year
the
didn't
longest but shortest year ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
2
yeah,
years.
2 years ago I did it.
When you came
and
home and said I'm going to do it,
I'm gonna do it again.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm going to hear about your freaking knees for like
Yeah.
3 months
Oh
straight.
yeah, at least you probably still hear about them. So that's one thing. So the cool thing though about it is, and the reason I could even do it was like you run and then there's an obstacle, you run and then there's an obstacle, you run, you go through trenches there, you run a little bit, then you go through like the
It
river.
breaks it up a lot.
Yeah, and so then you run towards the end. The only part that really sucked was for me was the end. So by the time I get to that last actual like running portion on cement,
Because it's uphill too.
well, that
like
doesn't
the-
matter to me. It's
Well,
all
it's
like,
hard at the end when you have to run up a hill. Oh,
but, I mean,
I know
all
the
of that
cement,
was.
though,
It just felt like
Yeah.
someone shot me with.
maybe they did.
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
I
Maybe
got
they
shrapnel.
Because they do
blanks.
blanks. Maybe you just
Yeah.
got a little.
That's what, and I
You weren't bleeding though.
I was telling someone else. No, I wasn't. I was telling someone else this, and they're like, "Yeah, right. You told one of the soldiers to take you as soon as you saw that Amber was going to kill you." I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what
That's a
happened."
good thing.
But yeah,
We
you
started out
crushed it.
together. Then I'm like, see ya. I was in good shape then. That's when I was like 3 sessions a week. I think even doing off day training.
Yeah, you're killing it.
But this year's gonna be
But it's awesome. So
different.
So the trench run.
But we're
So
gonna do
they basically
do it?
make
I'm gonna
it
do it,
look.
yeah.
They make it feel like they do their drills and stuff during that. So they make it feel like you're almost in like war scenario. So like the choppers are going overhead. They have helicopters holding Humvees and taking them around, and they have they're driving around in the Humvees with the guns on the back and firing blanks all the time, the whole time. They actually had like an emergency stop where they were like picking up a soldier and taking a medical vac out. So basically like they actually like had like a fake bloody leg or whatever on this soldier, and so he was pretending to be injured, obviously, and so the entire operation was land the helicopter next to him, Get them on the, is it gurney? Is that one?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Get them on the gurney, pull them into the helicopter and take off. So that was cool to be able to do that, as well as like a bunch of smoke screens and different things that they have going there. Then you run into the trenches of that they have. What is it? Fort Dodge, right?
Camp Dodge.
Camp Dodge.
Because I keep telling people in Waukee, I keep saying Fort Dodge. And
Oh,
they're
yeah,
like,
and that's
that
like-
far away? I was like,
Sorry,
shoot, no,
yeah,
Camp Dodge.
There we go. That's probably why people give me weird looks when I say Fort Dodge. Yeah,
That's probably why
Camp
no one's
Dodge.
like
But it's a
that.
fort, isn't it? Like,
I think it is a fort technically, but it's Camp Dodge.
right,
Yeah.
Camp Dodge
Yeah.
is the name of it.
Yeah.
Because they have, what's the other one? What, the one in Nebraska they call Fort something. I think.
Fort.
I can't remember what it is. Anyway.
We're probably gonna tell people what it's all like, and then we'll get there this year, and it's gonna be like
Completely
Completely different, yeah.
It's gonna be like
That's what it was like.
6
too.
miles of
Yeah.
just straight running.
Just a 6-mile run. And that's what I always tell people too is, so I was out of town for a couple years ago, and obviously we didn't do it last year.
Mhm.
But I did like Conquer the Gauntlet
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
time.
Yep.
And it's kind of the same setup where it's, it was like 4 miles, and normally like I would never just run 4 miles ever.
Right.
I've never ran that far at a time in my life.
Yeah.
But like you run, a quarter mile, do an obstacle.
Yeah.
You're only running for like 2 minutes, and then it's an
Right.
obstacle again, and then you're running for 2 minutes, and it's another obstacle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't feel, it's hard,
Yes.
but it doesn't feel like you're running for 4 or 5 or 6
Right.
miles.
How hard are those obstacles? Because these ones are like so doable. Because
Oh yeah.
Because people ask, do we have to do burpees if we can't do the obstacle? Because I know at Spartans they have to do that.
Yeah, Conquer the
But
Gauntlet was
these
the same.
are
If you did like,
these
the
are
competitive
easy
one,
obstacles. It's just like running through the trench, and then you run up in this house and you carry a hose. They're all so doable.
yeah.
But I didn't know how did
These
that work
were-
with that? And if you
These were
couldn't do
hard,
it,
yeah.
if you couldn't do it, did you have to do?
So it
something
depends
else?
on. They did like a competition wave that was like, the people like a Brian White. I think he did that one, and then Brian did the competition wave, and then he came back through and did the second time just for the fun of it.
Blows my mind.
I met him.
I
was like
don't
going
get
up a ramp, and I like looked back down, and him and Tammy were behind me, and they're like, "Hey, Zach." I was like, "What are you guys doing?" And Brian's like, "I'm just doing a practice run a second time," and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Okay.
Practicing.
But yeah, so the competition wave, like in that one, if you couldn't do an obstacle, you had to do like your 15 burpees and then go on. But for everybody else, no.
Yeah, just try it.
You
And
can just,
you can't. And that's what this. How long do you think the river run is on this thing? Half mile?
It's
Or a
gotta be at
mile.
least
It's
half
pretty
to a
long.
mile, yeah.
But the water is only up
And
to your knees. I mean,
go,
it's
like,
not very
in and
high.
out,
Yeah.
in and out, and there's
Yeah.
like trails. So like you go through the river, and then there's trails next to the river, and then you go
Yeah.
down through the river,
We kind of
and then you
that
go
was
through
kind of
the
similar, yeah.
Yeah, so
But
it's
it
pretty
seems, it's like, it's nice to break it up. This is a long time in the river. It's just heavy, right? Because it's
Yeah.
sand and water.
Well, right,
Your
it's
shoes are
heavy.
heavy.
cool. You're gonna get muddy.
it's-
You're gonna
yeah.
So we're
It's fun.
close that. Yeah. So we have, if you go to cravegym.blog or if you go to cravegym.com and hit blog on the menu, you can see our blogs. We have our special or our power partner events up there, and then if you look at the last blog, that link is up there. So all the links are up there to sign up. We also sent out our newsletter at the beginning of the season, so everybody should have gotten that email with the links in there to sign up for the trench run. It's $20.
It'd be kind of fun to wear a GoPro
Oh, there you go. That would be cool.
just to see what it's, so people can see what it's like.
Let's do it.
You,
I'll
you
do
want to
it.
wear it? Or
Yeah.
you want me to?
I can wear it. You might go too fast. You
I
won't
might.
be able to see the
I
footage.
might.
Be like a blur.
I might cuss too much for.
I will be too.
Can we mute it? No.
Yeah.
No, that might be kind of cool though.
Get that going. So that's a good idea. Awesome. Then we got, let's see, we talked
I-
about our baseball
Can I bring
and our
something up
trench. Yeah, what's
first
up?
before? Okay, we got to talk about your soda, your pop thing. 'Cause we
Oh
didn't talk
yeah,
about that. We're
I
gonna
forgot
forget
about that.
it.
Yeah, it's
This
called
is
pop.
Really,
First of all, it's called pop, not soda.
wow.
Is that an Iowa thing?
I don't know.
Do you guys call it soda?
I call it soda.
That's weird.
I call it bowl.
I thought it was a Midwest thing in general that it was pop, not soda.
It is. It's one area's one. I don't know which.
I've always called it pop.
I think I started saying
They call it soda on the East Coast.
I think
South.
soda is like a coastal thing, and then pop is a Midwest thing, and
They
then
call it Coke.
they call it Coke in the South.
Texas and the South.
yeah, like my family's from Texas, and they all call it Coke.
Like,
No matter
do
if
you
you
want a
order
Coke?
Pepsi.
Like,
Yeah,
do you
I'll
want a
have
Coke,
I'll
then
have Pepsi.
and then what kind of Coke do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I know it's weird.
That'd be way confusing.
It's super
No,
weird.
I don't want a Coke.
Yeah.
Sue.
Can I have a Mountain Dew? Yeah, I'll get you that Coke.
Right. Right.
Be like, no, I didn't order a Coke.
Right. It's a whole thing, but so yes, it's pop here.
Okay, all right.
But no, so I don't drink pop. It's just something that I used to a lot because I used to so way long time ago, way back in the day, my freshman year of high school, I was on the golf
Wait,
team.
a long time ago.
Nice.
Yeah, a long time ago. I was on the golf team just
Decades ago.
because my friends were doing it, and there was only like 6 people, and there was only 5 people, and they needed a 6th person. And I was like, sure, I'll go golf with you guys.
That
I was
sounds
terrible.
like
I love it.
I was terrible, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was one of the most fun like sports teams I've ever had. I only
That's
did it the 1 year because then I started doing soccer and track after that.
Okay.
But it was so much fun. And so it was like 6 of my buddies, and we'd all go to the store in town. It was just called the store.
That was on the sign.
No, it was
Oh,
the
darn.
corner store.
Close
The
enough.
corner
The store would have been awesome.
But it's just we called it the store.
Yeah.
So we'd all go to get donuts before school, and then after school on our way to golf practice, we'd all go, and I mean we would get like a candy bar, and when I say a liter of Mountain Dew,
Oh.
a liter of pop every day, that's exactly what I got. So I would go and I'd get a liter
That's
of Mountain Dew every
Like,
day,
The whole Mountain Dew or Diet Mountain Dew?
a whole Mountain Dew.
At that age, you don't care about diet.
That's true.
No,
It doesn't even cross
my
your mind.
metabolism was on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Just kids,
insane.
like, me
Yeah.
kids, like,
So I mean, I was like,
diabetes.
talking about carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting like 130 carbs for golf practice.
I want to know what. Probably more than
That's
that.
why
You
you're so
drank the
good.
whole liter.
I drink the whole liter every day.
Look
Yeah.
up how much sugar.
How much sugar's in a liter of Mountain Dew?
Yeah,
It's
I
got
do.
it. I don't even want to know.
I
Then I'd
do.
also get like a Milky Way too, or something
Yeah.
like that. Or like I think M&M's usually. I think M&M's could have like 40
Yeah.
carbs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm probably talking like 150, 160 carbs
That's
in a
awesome.
day. So then one day, being
in
the
a one
mature
serving.
How much
adult
in
that I was at that time.
He was said probably
Okay. Yeah,
40 grams in that
Yeah.
day, but
Right.
I'm like, no, just in that one time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so one day I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go because I drink pop all the time. And so one day I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna not drink it for a week. And then I got to an end of a week, and I'm like, I'm just gonna not drink it for a second week. And then that just stemmed to what? My freshman year of high school was 2011, so 10 years.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good you
Then
broke that
I-
habit.
drink
'cause-
I know. I make the caveat though that like I will drink pop if it does have alcohol with it too.
Okay,
So
so there's
like there's kind of there's some gray areas maybe.
that's
involved.
something I don't understand.
But I don't
is
go like for 10 years I haven't gone to a restaurant. Like I never
You just
drink
get
pop on
water.
its own. I always
like-
get water. Well now I drink sweet tea, so really
Okay.
not a lot
Not a lot
better.
better.
But
Yeah.
So
but it's
that's
just like
one thing.
the-
When I see somebody drinking just a Coke or a Mountain Dew, my mind, it just blows my mind because we just drink diet all the time,
Yeah.
and I just think of how much sugar is in that
oh gosh,
one
yeah,
drink.
it's insane.
Okay, so how many grams of sugar did you guys think was in a liter?
A liter of Mountain Dew.
I want to say 200
200. I was gonna say less than that. I was gonna say
Sugars or
sugars and carbs or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would think that it'd be all the same, right?
yeah,
That-
it
think
is.
it's
I
all-
mean, I was
think it's
thinking
all
calories.
sugar, yeah.
I was thinking
Oh
calories.
yeah.
Because that's just pretty high.
I would say I was on the high side.
Sorry, I should.
100. I'll say 100.
124 grams of sugar
124.
Jeez.
in 1 liter, 32 ounce bottle,
1
Plus-
liter is only 32 ounces.
Yeah,
or 34. Sorry,
Or 34.
yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
Yeah.
120.
120.
it's 440 calories.
Yikes!
And in a 20 ounce bottle, there's 77 grams of sugar. In that one.
Yikes!
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Well, that's why I stopped. So
Yeah, that's good. You did.
Well, I
'Cause
do my
can see how some
M&Ms.
people get addicted to
I do
it.
my M&Ms, and on top of
Am
that,
I thinking of
Yeah.
a gallon then? What's
Yeah.
that's a 2 liter. that
2
you're-
liter.
you're
I'm
thinking of
thinking
Yeah,
two
you're,
liter.
Yeah.
so there would
I
be.
thought you were
Oh
drinking
no,
2 liters.
no, not
Okay.
that bad. Just 1 liter.
Sorry, I was thinking you were drinking 2 liters before going and walking around and golfing. I was like,
Oh, right. You're.
high schoolers.
So that would have been. That's 200 and.
Oh man.
2 liter would be
40.
240.
Jeez.
Yikes.
Ugh.
But I was only drinking 1.
Yeah.
So not that bad.
Yeah.
No, we drink diet though. But so that's funny that you drink that's your bangs are diet. They're all sugar free. So that's
All my bangs are super healthy because they have 0 calories. So
Right.
no, absolutely no health repercussions at all.
Yeah,
Actually, to be honest, the only health repercussions of those that are there's actually a bunch of really cool studies out right now on the human trial with all of the other stuff and everything, with the artificial sweeteners and everything like that, to disprove a certain one, because I'm sure a lot of people have just heard artificial sweeteners can do something bad to your gut biome.
Right.
That's false. There's tons of studies that that disprove that. But with that being said, the only thing necessarily like bad in there would be the caffeine.
Right, and so that's my thing too, is because that's not the only caffeine I usually drink. So like I try to limit it to because like you said, like I don't worry about the artificial sweeteners like diet soda.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, I think that was something that has come up a long time ago, but hopefully has kind of been disproven.
Right.
I think for a lot of people's minds. I think, but yeah, because I don't even know how many milligrams of caffeine are in a bang. It's like 300 now.
something,
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, so like I try to limit it to like if I drink a bang, that's my only caffeine for the day.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, sometimes like if I have like a pre-workout, if it's like the Fury, it has caffeine in it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so these are Monsters are only 140. That's why I feel more comfortable about that, because I will always have 6 days out of the week I'm having a pre-workout as well, and that one has 200 in it. And then I'll usually have one Monster if it's been a day. If it's been a tired day, I'll probably have 2.
yeah,
So that's 240 plus another 200. So we're looking at 400.
Yeah.
I drink a
My
bang.
big thing is, as long as I'm under 500, I feel
I mean, over the course of a whole day too, it's not like a big thing. But yeah,
Bangs just make me feel like another level. When I have a bang, I'm like,
I know
it's
awesome.
crazy.
It's
It
like-
is.
It's
pretty
awesome.
Good. It's pretty good. Yeah.
I know. Everyone in the morning sessions loves it when I make my bang because I'm just like all over.
Get crazy
But-
after that.
Right, but then so like I try to like if I drink a bang, I try to not go to Starbucks and get. We don't need to talk about my coffee order.
We don't need to talk about your Starbucks addiction.
We don't need to talk about what
Well,
I get at
that-
Starbucks.
That's a
We'll
whole
save that
nother.
for
That's
a whole
another
nother
day.
podcast.
Another podcast.
If you want to ask
So,
that personally, maybe.
So do we want to move on to, we have lifting sheets.
Yes, we can talk about those.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing that that we wanted to touch on is lifting sheets. We have a bunch of people with our challenges, and we can talk about the challenge too. The challenge went awesome. I do feel bad for anybody that was 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. because we had
don't
an
feel
extra
bad.
round. But
They're fine.
But think about this though. How easy is next week's or the following week's challenge going to be when you're only having to do 2 rounds? You're going to be like, oh, this is the easiest challenge.
This will be like a
in the world.
little
So-
cakewalk.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you guys are good. But so we have our challenges, and one question that we've gotten a lot is, oh, what was my last score? And there is a convenient place on your lifting cards to write down what your score is on the challenge up to the 5. If you did it every single week, which would be crazy, but
Some
if you
people
do
did
it,
last season.
yeah, last
They
season
wanted-
people
people
wanted
wanted
to.
to.
And then that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
To be able to try to beat your times, but to see your times on there, just make sure that you get that result from the coaches and write it down on your score or on your lifting cards. And the lifting cards have also been kind of, I think last season a lot of people got out of the habit of it because we were on our 2020 high rep, not necessarily worrying about the
How heavy
weight
you're
and
going
that kind
in,
of
yeah.
stuff. So now that we're back this season into lifting heavier, 8 to 10 reps, let's make sure that we have those lifting cards out. Make sure that you're writing down. We have to progressively overload, which means that you're adding weight to your same rep ranges. And we've talked about this 100 times before, but the rep ranges are put in place so that you can hit 10. If you hit 10 rep range, that's in that rep range. If you hit 10, great, but now you have to add weight so that you can only do 9. You can only do 8. And so that's where that rep ranges is, and it automatically kind of pushes you to progressively overload. But how do you remember 2 weeks prior or the week prior that you did that workout, what that weight was in that lift. That's the hardest thing. So make sure that we're writing those down so that you can make those adjustments set one, so that you know, okay, I've been doing 90 pounds of this bench press last week, and I started at 80, but I bumped up to 90. Don't start at 80 again. Try to start at that 90 again after being warmed up, so that you can now progressively overload to hopefully get 95 and continue to push those weights up, because that's the only way that you're going to get stronger and working on that power this season.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Awesome. Okay, so the word of the week this week is curiosity, and it kind of relates. So last week we had mindfulness and basically knowing what's happening around you, taking a second to really see things going on and paying attention. And so this kind of sprouted this thought in my head was curiosity, and how a lot of curiosity and a lot of questions are just like automatically answered by like Google or whatever. So the curiosity and the thinking process and the process to finding the answer has kind of shot down, or even asking questions has shot down or has diminished a lot in the world that we live in today. But I think that process is super valuable. So I wanted to talk about curiosity today, which is a strong desire to know or learn something. And again, with Google, most people, if I have a strong desire to know, what something is, I Google it, I find the answer, and then it's out of my mind. Whereas, if you have that interview process, if you have the thinking process of trying to do things, that will help kind of push that forward. Always using those tools, but if we have discussions, it's one of those things, like I talk about how like the bar arguments have been killed because of Google. Like I remember there used to be we used to sit down and argue at a bar about sports stats or whatever, who had the home run record at this time or whatever, anything, right? I feel like Google just has killed that.
Which makes it so interesting though, because you'd have those arguments, but then how would you ever find out who was right?
Well, eventually we would go back to, look it up or hear it on the news, or we would go, we didn't have it at the palm of our hands, right? So we might have had to go sit at a computer and research it.
Well, and that's teaching you patience.
Oh, I think
kind
so,
of
yeah.
because everything is instant gratification
Right.
nowadays.
Right.
Like you want an answer, you got to have it right now.
Yeah.
Whereas then it teaches you, no, I just got to wait and it'll come out.
You have to really want to
it's
know
crazy.
the answer.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah.
Like
it's just nuts out. Yeah, but it's
But the quote that I wanted to talk about today is, we keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. And that's Walt Disney. So in today's world, I think that there's a positive though, right? So there's the rabbit hole of information that you can continually research something and continually find out how to do something versus just looking up the answer and being like, oh, it's done, right? And so that's kind of how it relates to mindfulness, is the training yourself to mindfulness is training yourself to stay engaged in your surroundings and paying attention and all that kind of stuff. But if we aren't doing that mindfulness, then it's tough to be. If we need to be curious in order to ask questions about our surroundings, to ask questions about someone that you meet, and I'm going to go political. So listen up, political triggered warning. I think one thing that we have to do too is use curiosity when we're meeting each other as well. Like one big thing at Krave is we treat everybody like everybody at Krave is on the same team, right? And in any locker room, if you've been in a team, you have to get along with everybody in order to ultimately achieve the goal of winning a game or winning a championship. And you have, in that locker room, you have all races, all religions, all backgrounds, all economical backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
Socioeconomical
Yes.
backgrounds,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
basically what I'm trying to
Should
say
I
is
Google it? Let me Google it.
Google it real fast. I'm super curious about it. But you have all these different types of people, and you have to get along with them. And what ultimately ends up happening is you get to know them on a human level versus this surface level that we all kind of see each other on when you first meet someone, right? And I think that in today's world takes the political landscape. Once you're done with school, you start forming your political opinions and where you sit in a lot of these issues. And so I think that it's just been, this last year has obviously been magnified like crazy with political being online and with everything going on. So a lot of times I feel like we're not curious enough to get to know somebody before we just label them because of their politics, because of their, and that just not just politics, but because of X, Y, and Z. Maybe it's a fan base, right? If you're a Raiders fan, you're an asshole. You know what I mean? Or there's just different things that we take that surface level.
I read that Cowboys game.
Right.
They were.
We did have.
So that part may be true. Though.
And
Well,
I
that's
was curious, and I was looking at them like, damn, that stands true.
Everybody.
So I mean,
yeah, right. But
we
that's the
saw
thing.
it though.
Right.
But we didn't just go into it thinking them.
And that's not everybody.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Not
That's not
everybody.
everybody.
It may be most of them.
It was our section was definitely assholes.
Yes.
But
There were some good ones there though too.
yeah. But I mean, then that's what I'm thinking of is like getting to know people and having curiosity about people's lives, people's experiences. Getting to know people past the surface level, and I think that we do an awesome job when we're at Krave of talking about different things and meeting and doing outings and being a part of that team so that you get to know different people versus just throwing a label at them for one reason or another. And having that curiosity is huge when it comes to making those relationships, right? And having those teams. Another example of what I want to talk about today is it pertains to your life and it pertains to the success in your life and especially this is kind of my coach's examples of how people can be more successful and be greater, and a lot of that has to do with curiosity, right? So be curious on. There's a lot of different systems, a lot of things that we just don't question, right? So one thing that we do at Krave, we've always been progressive in our programming. We've always done the next scientific. If science tells us that this is a better way to train than what we're doing, we adapt to that, right? But I think a couple questions that we can always ask ourselves to help us in everyday life is, how can I make this simpler? How can I make this faster, more effective, cheaper? And we do that. We reevaluate our product and we reevaluate what we're doing at Krave a lot by asking those questions and trying to innovate. But we can do that in all aspects of our lives, right? How can I make this more comfortable? How can I make this easier for me to handle? How can I schedule my day so that I'm more effective in this part or this part? And I think that curiosity stems those things. How can I solve this problem in a new way? Say that you have a job, you have a project, and you're being innovative. That's going to show in being curious about the answer to this project or a different way to do this project that's innovative, then you can impress your company. You can work better if you're doing those things, and that all stems from curiosity. How can this be more fun and more enjoyable? Like, that should be a question that we're curious about too. So if we're when we do that here, what do people like? What makes this podcast more fun, more enjoyable for people to listen to? Like, that kind of curiosity is something that we can just continue to always ask ourselves. And let's see and how can this appeal to a broader audience? Those are some questions that I think all of our, as a business owner, we ask, but I think that everybody can ask those questions in an effective way to really stay curious and continue to achieve more and more and more with this type of thing.
And something that's really helped me is, when did podcasts start to come out?
It's been a while, but I feel like the last
5 5 years.
The last like
or so.
5 years has been they've like
Yeah.
really gotten popular. Yeah.
Because with a lot of the marketing stuff that I have to do at Krave, or just getting ideas on how to grow, how to get people in the door. Like, I love the fitness podcasts that I listen to because I'm curious about these things, about these topics. And I can literally go to those podcasts that talk about that and just say, okay, 5 ways to get more people in the door. And then I click on it and it's like a 20-minute thing, but it helps me and it feels like I'm curious about that topic and I want to find out more. And I love podcasts because I hate reading. I just cannot sit down and read a book.
Right.
I'm terrible at it because my mind goes elsewhere and I forget what I read. I think I do have like ADHD, but that's a whole nother podcast. But they just help me. Like, and I love podcasts because of curiosity about no matter where you are in your life or what you want to hear more about. It doesn't have to be fitness, but whatever that is. I don't know. It's been really helpful for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would invite all of our athletes to, start being curious. Like, one of the places you can start being curious is here in the gym, right? So, I mean, I have people talk to me all the time, like maybe they're after a session and they're like, hey, I know you're busy, I know you got stuff to do, but like, can you just answer this quick question? Like, yes, like I love that. That's one of my absolute favorite things to do is just talk about.
Because we're here to educate our athletes as well.
Exactly.
We don't want to be a product that, like, if somebody moves away, like, there's so much more, obviously, that makes being a member at Krave, like, cool. So it's not just like, oh, I figured everything out, I can go somewhere else. But the fact that if somebody moves out of the area and they now know enough to go into a general gym and crush it because we've been able to educate them, that's an ultimate goal too. You know what I mean? And so that leads right into some action steps that we had. And number 1, be an expert questioner. Right, so start to just don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no
go to Zach
questions.
or Tyler
or Amber, yeah.
Or Amber, yeah.
Go to Amber. Leave us alone. Just ask Amber.
I lied. I do have stuff to do. Go to Amber.
But no, that's like the thing I think that is lost a lot of times are people might be afraid to ask questions. People might be afraid
because they think it's a dumb question,
right,
or they're gonna.
There is no dumb questions. No. That's what. Us as experts in our field, that's what we are here for, and so
if we don't know the answer, we will find the answer for you.
Right.
That's what I always tell people. I'm like, or not, that's what I always tell people. I don't know. I'll find out for you. I don't say that. But if I didn't know an answer to something, then that's on us.
Right.
And I like that because then I'm educating myself into something that I didn't know. Right. I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
So
that's the number 1 action step. Number 2 is think about what you can see that others are missing. So your perspective, right? In any situation, ask yourself, okay, how is my perspective of this situation different than Susie and Tommy's? And
Tommy, I miss Tommy.
I know, I miss Tommy too. Shout out Tommy if you're listening. But yeah, so yes, how can you see that situation differently because of your experiences than someone else might be? And then use that information to help the team. Use that information to help you in that situation to solve a problem or do whatever. Number 3 is how can you make the discussion more interesting? So like in any discussion, think about ways and think about things that can trigger more conversation. Be curious about those answers and continue to, and that goes back to the first one. Ask questions and just continue to dig in. And if those conversations, one thing that I love, and one of the reasons I thought that we like started this podcast was I like to just bullshit with people. You know what I mean? And have a conversation and in our interviews, just literally be able to be curious and learn about that person or learn about that organization and that curiosity. That's kind of one of the reasons we started.
This is your word. This
right?
word is yours.
Yeah.
Because I'll always say, I don't like that shirt design. Well, why don't you like that shirt design? Well, why don't you think people are going to buy it? Well, why don't you? And I'm like, will you stop asking me questions?
Right?
Yes.
I'm just curious.
This is like
you do
but
do
it's
that.
good. I wish I was more like that.
No, yeah.
I do. I need to get better at it.
So
this is
I'm
I'm
gonna
work on
right
it.
there.
4 action steps. And then number 4 is what can you learn about people around you by just observing them? So looking at how they're acting, what they're wearing, the things that you are looking and what you can learn. to try to dig down, right? So then ask them the question, have a conversation, open up the discussion so that you can learn more about them. But think about what you're observing about people and understand why you're observing those things about people, and that curiosity is going to help too. So those are 4 things that you can do this week to take action, start being more curious, get answers, ask more questions. Number 1 is be an expert questioner.
That's you.
I kept trying to type that in, and it kept changing it to questionnaire.
Be an expert questionnaire.
Tyler, the
You should
expert
be a
questionnaire
questionnaire.
Robinson.
There we go.
That's your name.
I love it. That's the middle name. That's the middle name I deserve. Questioner.
So now, anytime you ask me questions, you're like, oh, he's curious. He's just asking.
Yeah,
He's just curious.
I want to
He's just
get
taking
your
action.
perspective on it because
Oh, I know
you
you
have
do.
such a different perspective than I do, being that your experiences are much different than mine.
And my thinking
And you're
is,
female.
you're asking me questions, but you don't really care because it's always going to go with your decision anyway. So
I think that it helps me make my decision.
this is what we get for
Even
a
if I
husband and
don't-
wife working together,
Right.
right?
Even if it is my decision,
Then don't ask the questions because the decision's already made. So
but
that's
it's
why
not
you
already
don't.
made. That's
Okay.
that's the thing. Even if it is my decision, you can influence that decision.
You are pretty open if I have a valid reason.
Then that's
if
why
I
I
answer
ask
your
why.
questions right.
Yeah.
But then I always think, like, how does he want me to answer this? I always get in my own head.
I just want you to answer the damn question. Why do you think that?
No, I know
well,
you're just curious.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
glad we cleared that up with this podcast. So
Right.
see, even I learned a lot
Yeah,
of
we
things
know.
on our own
Look
podcast.
how you-
Be curious for sure. Awesome.
Zach, don't ask me questions. Okay?
No more questions. But that's and that too, like from a manager owner perspective to a coach's perspective. Coaches, I love when coaches ask more questions than what information I've presented, right? Because there's probably a lot of different things that I left out or that I'm an expert on. I know it's so easy for me because I've been doing it for
So
long that, but that's something that they might not know.
or want to learn. Or,
Yeah, exactly. And so the fact that coaches can ask those questions and dive into some of those answers, that is valuable as well because, for me, I might leave shit out, and I do that a lot. I feel like
Because
if
you
I'm
just
doing
assume that
training,
people know something,
Right.
And then they
because it's
don't.
such a small part
Right.
of my, like what, I'm not saying I know everything.
Just a
right?
fraction of your wide knowledge
Right,
base.
yeah, and that's not what I'm trying to get across, but it's like such a small piece of what I'm trying to present that I think that it's already known.
Yeah.
And then if I leave that piece out and it's not, they don't ask the question about it, then the other stuff that stacks onto that piece then doesn't make sense.
Sounds
So,
right.
you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And so I do that a lot of times, and then I'll get a weird look from a coach and be like, well, you never told us the first part. What's that? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's good. Oh, we didn't. Our craving.
Oh yeah.
We
Our
should.
craving.
Is that a good time to change the subject, or is that bad timing?
That's perfect.
Oh, you're looking at me like.
I
You're
don't
just
remember.
curious?
I'm curious. I don't remember what the.
So our
I also
craving
don't
was going to
remember.
be the ICO, like watching.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if we really finalized this, but we're going with it.
This is what it is
because
now.
This is what
We're already going.
it is. Because we remembered to talk about it this week.
Nice.
If
And
you'd
we already
rather
reviewed
watch,
the other one, right?
huh?
We already reviewed the other
Yes,
one.
we did.
Okay.
Yes. Seltzers or beer? Seltzers one by
Beer.
a lot.
Beers.
Team seltzers.
Beers.
Okay. Gonna talk about would you rather watch iCubs baseball, not just iCubs, but baseball or soccer? Since both of
On
them are kind of
TV?
going on. Yes.
Okay, so do
And
you
if-
like
Yeah.
baseball or soccer?
If you had to
more
choose
on
between
TV?
those two, we're gonna put baseball, soccer. You can pick your choice. And then the next slide we're gonna have why or what's your favorite sport to watch on TV, just to get some
Get
stuff.
some discussion. You might as well make this craving. Do you prefer Coach Zach Finesse or Coach Jake Portraz?
Yeah, because you'd rather watch baseball. You'd rather watch
Because
soccer.
I'm a baseball guy, he's a soccer
Yeah.
guy. So
Yeah.
that's
And-
like the
I mean, this-
underlying
he
vote
has-
That's the underlying vote.
is if you
Is
actually
who you
vote
like
for
more.
soccer, you're actually a vote against me. So
Yeah. So
West Des Moines, you get to vote for soccer. Waukee, you get to vote for baseball.
I don't know what's gonna win.
And I'm just-
Personally, I don't like to watch either of them, but
And I'm just very curious. why anyone would like either of those on TV.
Was this a bad craving?
No, I'm curious.
We're
to see
curious to see.
If people. What I'm saying is, on that second slide where people comment,
You want to see?
I expect more people than not to say, I really don't like either of those, and this is why, or I want only to watch X, Y, and Z. Volleyball, yes.
I expect to get into some
Good discussions.
disagreements next week on the
Good
podcast.
discussions,
so.
disagreements.
We might have to have Jake on the podcast next week.
You might have to put your comment in there, and
What was my
when we
comment?
take the goals out, I just still don't.
Tyler, we
Oh, yeah.
can write it down for next week. But,
Yeah,
we
well,
can't
that'll
talk
be a
about it this week.
discussion.
But Tyler had a.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I think it's completely invalid.
Really? You don't think so?
Well, can we talk about it this week?
Yeah, why not?
No, we gotta talk about it next week. 'Cause
Well, we can talk about my
No,
opinion.
because then you're
We'll
gonna
forget about it.
influence people to choose one way or another. And
Just
that's
trust
not
me,
gonna be
this
fair.
comment will not influence anything.
Yeah.
Trust me. This one, Tyler's comment was, if you take the goal, if you remove the goals from soccer, then
Not much changes.
no, I believe your exact comment was, if you just remove the goals from soccer, then it's just a bunch of people running around. I'm
Yes,
like, well, if
you
you
do.
remove the basketball hoops from basketball or the end zone from football,
Right.
then
but-
it's also just a bunch of guys running around. And I'm team baseball.
What I'm saying though is the hoop in basketball is part of every single play. What's the shot clock? 30 seconds.
30 seconds or something.
Every 30 seconds, the hoop has to be touched. The goals,
Fair.
you don't even see on camera for 80% of the game.
Fair. That's a good point. Oh, again, I'm not trying to defend soccer. I like
Right.
soccer, but I'm team baseball.
I love all of
Way,
these
so-
live.
Yeah.
I can't.
And
just
I think you
don't
guys
understand.
said in the office that volleyball is the most exciting thing to watch on TV.
I
so
don't-
I think that it does have.
It is
does
exciting
have
to
the
watch, I would
most.
say.
I would say it
because
has
it's
the
just
most
point after point. It's so
It is.
fast.
right.
It's
It has the
fast-paced.
most
Yeah.
It's very
fast-paced
fast-paced.
action that actually dictates the game.
Game.
Yeah,
Right.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And that's
But I think-
that was
is there
again
any
my
other
point
sport
for
like
soccer is you take the goals out and all that movement, all the passing, all that kind of stuff in the middle of the field, that doesn't dictate the winner of
So
the
if
game.
it was a higher
That's
scoring
fair.
game, that would be an invalid comment. But since it's so low scoring,
right.
that's
That's
why.
valid. That's a valid point.
basically what I'm saying.
It's a valid point.
What other sports are
And
pretty
I was
fast?
just trying to
Cricket.
get
I've
under
never played
Jake's skin a
cricket.
little bit too.
Cricket's like baseball, right?
Cricket.
Cricket's
I think
interesting.
cricket's very
Tennis
slow
is a
paced.
fun one to like.
Yeah,
It's fast
cricket's
paced.
more like baseball.
Yeah, cricket's like very. I
Pitch,
mean, cricket
hit,
can
pitch, hit,
be
pitch,
like
hit.
days long.
Yeah,
like,
they
it can
have-
be like days.
Yeah. Well, the way that cricket works, and shout out to Cy and
The cricket team.
Kron and the entire cricket team that's undefeated
So
for this league.
yeah, and it's funny
got
story.
second in the
Cy's
last
like
one.
what, the best hitter?
Yeah, Cy I guess is like
Cy's
the
an
best
absolute
hitter
monster,
in the league,
And then
and Kron was
Kron's-
like the best pitcher in the league. They got voted for that or whatever.
So the
And-
bunch of cricket players have been coming in because every time they get up, they'll be like, "What do they say?
Oh
Krave
yeah,
Gym."
they yell at him and they're like, "Go Crave!"
And so now all of them are like, "I'm gonna do that because I'm gonna be."
Yeah.
I love it. It's
So basically,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
so like here they limit their games to like 120 pitch games.
Oh yeah.
So then one team bats for 120 pitches.
Yeah.
And you bat, if I'm a batsman, I bat until I get 3 outs on myself.
Right. And I think it's very hard to
Jeez.
get. Like,
Right.
baseball, it's hard to get a hit. Cricket,
Right.
it's hard to get.
out,
Like,
I think.
yeah. Like,
So,
you,
like,
you get
you-
hits more than you get out.
So like Cy, who's a very good hitter, he would put 60 runs up before he's done.
yeah.
Then they would get him out, or he'd put up the entire 120 pitches would be his, and he would put up however many runs associated with how many he got back and forth. Whether it's a home run's like 6 runs,
it's crazy.
and then if you get back and forth on
Yeah.
a run, it's a warm.
I'm not-
Anyway, I'm not 100% on it, but so then like he can score so many runs while he's up, and maybe he pulls 80 pitches, and then the next guy only has 60 pitches left or whatever to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, so that would be an interesting sport. But so they limit those games, right? But I think when they're like the major leagues, I think they don't
You
have
just
a
go
limit.
for like days.
You go
They can't.
until you get
That's
like all the
insane.
batsmen out.
Yeah.
And then the other, I think they call it chasing. The other team then bats and chases
Yeah.
and goes until they either get their entire team out or they score more points than the other team.
Wow.
So I think that they can go set like
But they obviously
several
like
days
sleep.
and overnight. No,
They just keep playing.
They play like
Right.
195 hours straight. No.
No,
That's
they
like
do
the
not.
challenge,
You guys
yeah.
are. I'm,
That's
I'm
why.
asking. See,
Curious.
this is not.
This is why Amber's not curious.
This is why I go to Google, because you guys are assholes. You don't let me know that you laugh at me.
No, I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I think they do play for like the day, and then they
They probably take the night
take
off.
the night off and come back the next
I
day
mean,
and
it
keep
makes
playing.
sense, but
Well, I don't know. I would also have to be curious on this one because I really don't know.
So I'll have to ask
Ask
Sai
Sai.
next week.
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah, see, I asked a question. Aren't you
Awesome.
proud of me?
Yes.
I'm already like my curiosity
So
is already
curious.
already going. I didn't say I didn't want to ask it because I was like, is this a dumb question? But
We just talked
But
about
it's
how there's no dumb
I
question.
know,
and
and
I
then
know,
we just
but
like,
yeah,
And in your mind, you were already thinking like,
this is
"Oh,
a
this is a dumb question."
and I'm live.
Ah,
now everyone heard.
everybody heard the question. Okay, so anything else we want to talk about today?
I don't think so.
We're at an hour. We were a good one.
Wow,
Wow.
Yeah.
that went fast.
Like I said, look what happens when we got time to do
Yeah, I
this.
know. We
Yeah.
don't have to.
And we're not
Better, that's okay.
So thank you guys for watching and listening. If you're listening to us on any platform, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. You'll get a link every time that it comes up, because like this week we're off to a weird start, or we're doing it on a weird day, so we had to move our schedules around. But if you're watching us on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit that bell. Then you can get notifications every time our videos drop. Not only the Gym Closet podcast, but also you'll get our coaches breakdowns, all of our information that we're trying to get out. And we need followers, we need subscribers to do some extra cool stuff on YouTube, because they limit. You have to have a certain number of things to open up different opportunities to do more stuff. So please subscribe. I think we went from like, this is the super humble brag, but I think we went from like 20 like a month ago to like 86 now.
Nice.
So people
If
are
we keep
subscribing.
that trend going.
Now we just need
I
to,
know, yeah.
to
We
keep
just need
people
about-
going.
More people subscribe.
Yeah.
now.
4,000.
No, I think you only have to have 1,000
Oh, nice.
to do
All
a
right.
lot of different
Cool
stuff
stuff.
live.
So all we need is
and-
914 more of you.
Yep.
Right.
Let's go,
Please,
people.
and thank
Let's
you.
go.
Yes. Yeah. So
But we're getting there.
hit subscribe, hit the bell so that you know when we drop. And remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
Born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You are an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.